Do you want to go? Do you want to go and watch the Fallout trailer, or?
I don't really want to talk about it, to be fair, because I remember what you said like a few years ago about watching trailers and it kind of ruins. I've seen like 20 seconds, and what I saw, I was like, yeah, okay. I don't need to see any more. I get the gist.
Have you seen the GTA 6 trailer then?
Yes, I've seen the GTA 6 trailer because we already know what the game is. It's going to be based in Vice City again, and it's going to have a female, you can play as a female protagonist. So I was like, well, might as well watch it. And it seems like they're more steering towards like the younger generation in terms of like the generation where they're on their phones and they're recording cameras.
When you say the younger generation, do you mean the generation beneath us?
Absolutely, yeah. What, they Gen?
In the same way that...
Are they Gen Z? Gen Z, aren't they?
Yeah. But of course, why not? Because that's the generation that will be that age when the game comes out.
Yeah, I got no problem with it. It's just, I hope I like it. It's just that I'm not really bothered about, you see these things online, I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. Yeah, some Karen, some woman showering, they call them Karens. And it's kind of like, okay, we need to take this and then we need to put it in our game so that people are like, this is what they kind of like at the moment. Which is kind of annoying because the early games, it was mostly taken like back to the 80s. So like Vice City, San Andreas was...
Well, in that sort of sense, yeah, so 3 Vice City and San Andreas, they all went to a different time than the game came out in. So yeah, it went back to the 80s. So GTA 3 was like early 2000s. Vice City was 80s and San Andreas was 90s. So they could look back and design a game that's going to be timeless. So in that sort of sense, if you look at GTA 5 and you look at the 3 main protagonists, Michael has an iPhone, Franklin has an Android device, probably a Samsung, and Trevor has a Windows phone. And that was the phone markets in sort of like 2011 to 2014. So perfect for the time period when the game came out. But now that game, the landscape of that game is already dated because of the way it's done that. Whereas if you look at how they designed Vice City, because it was already 20 years in the past, it is just as relevant now as it was when it first came out. So I kind of get what you're saying, but why does that have to be a problem? Or why is that a negative thing for you? Is it a negative thing for the game, or is it just a negative thing for you?
I don't know, because in the past, the last few games, I've kind of enjoyed the story.
You don't think you'll like the story because it's got a vertical video social media in it?
I'm not sure. That's the thing. I can't really base it off the trailer, but
because it had like Life Invader in GTA 5, didn't they? There were some things that are similar to what you've seen in GTA 6 were in GTA 5. Life Invader. There was some tweeting thing as well. I think.
The main guy. Sorry, what's the main guy? The mafia guy in GTA 5. What's his name again?
The mafia guy.
Yeah, the angry dad kind of guy. I forgot his name.
He's not mafia, Michael.
Yeah, he's part of the mafia. Sort of. He's like...
No, he's not.
He was part of the mafia.
He wasn't.
He was doing lots of bank robberies and stuff like that. And he
Nothing to do with the mafia.
Well, not the mafia. Okay, he was involved in crime. It was like a crime.
Yes.
Fair enough, right. But a lot of his work was like a crime-related stuff. And then you had Trevor, who was just a complete nutcase. So you was like, okay, I'm on board with that, because he's like unleashing the inner demons of yourself, which you can't display in society, but this guy just doesn't have any rules. He just does what he wants. So that's like really cool. And then you have the crime guy. He's got experience of robbing banks. And then you got the guy who's kind of like the San Andreas character, but he's more of turns out he's more of like the cool-headed of the 3. He kind of like, he's like, what's going on here? Like, this shouldn't be happening. We can plan this better, which is surprising. So he's kind of the cool-headed one, and then the other 2, the guy who robs the banks and stuff. He's kind of like the middle ground, but then Trevor is just off the scale. But then in this new game, so we're gonna have a woman protagonist and a man protagonist where you can play as. So I don't know how it's all gonna play off. I don't know if she's gonna be like a crazy one or he's gonna be a crazy one. Looks like they're in like a relationship together.
They both look a little bit more closer to Franklin than Michael or Trevor. The thing is, so Trevor was often described as a GTA character in real life, if that makes sense. So when you go around and play, you play Vice City, there's a lot of stuff you do in the game that is canon to the story. So basically all the story missions, things that the character does, it's set in stone for every single player. But every player goes crazy outside of missions. That's the whole point of GTA. You can go robbing cars, you can go shooting up people on the beach, you can do all of that, but that's not canon to the story because it's just stuff you do extra. Trevor is that character, but actually Trevor is you playing GTA, but as a character within GTA. He is that psychotic, that sociopathic, whatever all those words are, all boiled into an character that is within the game. I don't think they're doing anything like that with GTA6 characters. If the two that we saw in the trailer, that couple, if we're playing as both of those two, they both seem relatively normal. So unless something extra happens in the game, I don't think we're going to have that. And I don't really want a female character like Trevor either.
No,
because it doesn't work. It's a bad look for women, especially for all the people who are excited about having a female protagonist in a GTA game. I would actually kind of say, you've played Red Dead 2?
About halfway through.
Oh, okay. I won't carry on that thought then, but people have wanted a female protagonist in GTA for such a long time, and I think it would have been criminal if they had her as a batshit insane crazy lady. I think she has to be quite level-headed before they have a character who, in the future, GTA 7 or GTA 8, or an online character or something like that, you might have someone who is a bit more like Trevor, but as a female, and that could be a good character. I just don't think the first female protagonist is the right place to do it.
No, I agree. It wouldn't feel right. You'd be like, yeah, it doesn't really give it a good example, or it's just a bit too much. Like, but the graphics looks good. There's some interesting stuff, like there always is. But yeah, I wasn't on the edge of my seat. I was just like, oh yeah, it came out. Watched it 2025, which isn't long. It's only like a year, so it'll probably come out.
I mean, I'll expect it to be delayed. It'll probably come out in 26, is what I'm expecting.
Yeah, I think, like, probably expect it, like, if it is going to come out 2025, Christmas 2025. But yeah, is there anything else you want to discuss about that? Like, what else you thought in the trailer looked good? To me, it's just like, it's like, yeah, I feel like I've already played the best GTA game, and that was GTA 5. So I don't know how they're going to top it.
You think 5 was the best?
In terms of story and the gameplay and the car mechanics, because I like GTA 4, but the car mechanics are so heavy.
Okay, so yeah, this is the thing I was going to say. I absolutely love GTA 4. I think 4 has the best story.
Yes.
And I think that GTA 4 has the best DLC, the way the two DLC stories, they kind of interweave into the main story. Basically, I think GTA 4 and GTA 5 are very similar, but instead of having the other protagonist as DLC, it's just built into the one game. It's one of those things. It's like there's a difference between the best and the favorite or something like that. I think GTA 5 is a very good game. Fantastic. It has all the best gameplay mechanics of any Grand Theft Auto ever. And I wish that some of those were reflected in earlier games. And of course, that's going to happen. Games are iterative. So it's like, do you remember in the HD era, the 3D era, where if you died or got arrested, you lost all of your weapons? And it was such a pain. So it's like, there was no checkpoints, there were checkpoints in some, I think San Andreas had checkpoints, but there was no autosave. So basically, every time I started a mission, I would have to go to a save house, save the game, then start the mission. Because if you died in that mission, you've lost all your guns, and you'd have to either recollect them all, buy them all, or whatever. And then I think San Andreas had checkpoints within a mission. So if you died in a mission, you could restart with your guns. And I think San Andreas, if you died, you kept your weapons, but if you got arrested, you lost your weapons. So like the gameplay was evolving, and then GTA 4 came around and it had proper checkpoints.
It didn't.
And I think it had like multiple checkpoints within missions.
No, it didn't.
Doesn't it?
No. That was terrible. So the DLC, the
Ballad of Gay Tony, is that where the checkpoints come in?
Yeah.
Did GTA 4 not have basic checkpoints within it?
No.
It had none. I should know this. I actually replayed it like only a year ago, but maybe what I was saying about San Andreas actually happens in GTA 4. So it didn't have, you lost your weapon. I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't really matter what actually happened in each of them. But what I'm trying to say is the game started off really brutal. You lost all your weapons. There's no checkpoints, whatever. And then they kept, they add small quality of life improvements with it on each game. Like in the original games, if you were drive-by shooting, you'd only shoot left or right. You couldn't aim, whereas now you can aim. The way everything works in GTA 5, so the driving, even silly things like controlling the car in midair and being able to roll it over when it's on the roof, being able to have multiple types of the same gun, so like multiple pistols, a silenced pistol, an upgraded pistol with an extended magazine, and all that kind of stuff. That was all missing when I went back and played GTA 4. And I know you could probably get mods to kind of bring them back in, but I don't really play those types of games with mods. But it was nice, since the trailers come out, I'm one of the many people who have started replaying GTA 5. And it was nice to have those things again. And GTA 5 does have a good story. I do like the story. I don't think there's much wrong with the GTA 5 story. There's a few points where I'm like, this is a bit silly, but I do think it is a very good story. But GTA 4 is just... it just kills it. It's just such a good story. I think GTA 4 is probably the best story out of all Grand Theft Autos and is my favourite.
Well, the only thing I was going to say about GTA 4, the thing I hated, was there was no checkpoints in the base game on the PlayStation 3. I don't know if the Xbox 360 is different, but the PS3 version, like, you go and pick someone up and then you would have a discussion in the car for like a good 10 minutes while you drive to the destination to do the mission. You fail that mission, and then you have to go and pick up that person again, drive back to the mission, start again, and then
you're right. I do remember that now. There's a few.
I was just like, but the thing is, like, I remember like in Vice City, and maybe 3, but probably in Vice City they introduced this where it's like if you died in a mission, you could get like a taxi, and it would cost you a bit of money, but then you could start the mission straight away. But I don't know if they ditched that in GTA 5.
Yeah, I think the only problem with that is, I think, again, if you lose all your weapons, you go restart the mission and you haven't got any weapons, have you? Unless the taxi kind of reset your weapons. Because I remember it existing. I do remember it existing, but I do also remember reloading the save and never using it. GTA 4 had something different. GTA 4 had, instead of a taxi, you would have a text message. That's what it had.
Yeah. But I remember you still had to drive.
So I think GTA 4... didn't have checkpoints per se, but it would restart you at the beginning of the mission if you failed it.
Yeah, and the DLC had checkpoints throughout the mission, so it's like you didn't have to restart the whole mission again. And that was a lifesaver. But yeah, no, I did enjoy GTA 4 story. I enjoyed GTA 5 for the robbery heist missions and Trevor being crazy and then Franklin being just a level-headed guy being like, what the hell is going on here?
It was nice in GTA 5, like having access to the entire map all in one go. There was no like hurricanes closing bridges or anything like that. But the whole heist thing in GTA 5, that came out of the bank job in GTA 4 where you go in and steal like $250,000 with Patrick McCreary and a few other guys. Apparently there was so much, everyone really enjoyed that mission, so when they were doing GTA 5 they were like, oh yeah, let's kind of base it around that, and I think that's quite good. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're not really going to repeat that in GTA 6, I hope, but then I don't know what they would replace that with, because it was such a core, not mechanic, but it was like such a driving force behind the whole story, doing each of those scores. And
I think the reason why people liked it so much is because it's they literally copied a film called Heat by Michael Mann. starring Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and Val Kilmer. It's exactly the same. They go into a bank and they start stealing the money, putting it in the bags, and then they start shooting up the place. And you have to like GTA 5 is probably the bank mission in that is very similar to Heat, as well as GTA 4, but it's a much lower scale version of. So
but I like doing that. I mean, obviously GTA Vice City is just Scarface, but a video game, isn't it? Very similar. They're like kind of
very similar.
It's funny. Is that not like copyrighted stuff ripping off?
Well, Scarface, they made a game, but Vice City is more Scarface than Scarface. The game is more.
That's silly.
Because Vice City, owning your own car, like the mansion in Vice City is a replica of Tony Montana's mansion in Scarface. It's exactly the same.
As is like the ending mission, isn't it? Except you have a minigun instead of a Tommy gun. Is that why he's Tommy Vercetti? That last scene with the Tommy gun. Is he with a Tommy gun or is it machine gun? I've not seen the film, if I'm honest.
I think he has like I don't know, some
automatic rifle.
But GTA 6 looks interesting. I am kind of, the only way I'm looking forward to it is like to own something on the next gen console that's not coming to anything else and that is made for next gen. I'm hoping it does.
When you say next gen, do you mean current gen?
Yes.
Right, okay, I was going to say, we're not getting a PS6 before
GTA
6 comes out.
I'm still in the mindset of like games coming out on PS4 and Xbox One.
Oh, I kind of know you are. I was just clarifying whether you meant PS5 and Xbox Series, or if you were thinking whatever's coming next.
It would be nice to buy it on the Xbox Series X. I know that eventually there might be a PC version.
There should be. There's no reason why there wouldn't. I think every GTA so far has come out on PC. Yeah, it'll be a year, maybe a year and a half delayed. I kind of expect that, but we'll get it on PS5 and then I'll pick it up on PC later on.
Yeah, and that's what they're hoping for. It's like, oh yeah, these people, they're going to buy it again anyway, so...
I had a look the other day. I was pondering like how much I paid for GTA 4. I did pre-order it. I was one of those horrible people who pre-ordered the game, but, you know, it's Rockstar, and back then Rockstar weren't a horrible company. And it was £40 for the 360 version. I ordered it from like Tesco Direct. I think it arrived a day early as well, which was interesting. So I got to play it like immediately. And there was no like collector's edition. It was just the standard version. Like if there was a collector's edition, it was more like, oh, you get extra stuff. But the actual game itself, there was only like one version. So I bought it for 40 quid on the Xbox. I bought it probably for 40 quid on the PC when it came out, because I'm pretty sure I bought it the day it came out on PC as well. So that's 80 quid. I reckon I'm probably going to pay more than that for GTA 6 when it comes out.
It'd probably be 55, 60 quid.
I think it's going to be 70 to 80.
Really?
Well, here's the thing, to be honest. Let's have... how much is Red Dead on Steam?
Red Dead Redemption 2?
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be cheaper now. It'd be like 20 quid.
Well, it's currently on sale, but I want to see what the RRP is. So it's supposed to be $59.99 or $89.99 on the PC. So I reckon GTA 6 will be obviously at least 60 quid, but I reckon it's probably going to start $79.99. I reckon it's going to be like 80 and 100 or 80 and 110.
Just for the base game.
We've still for the base game. There's still 2 years of inflation to come if it's coming out in 25 and 3 years if it's coming out in 2026.
I'm not paying that. No way. Oh, wait.
But people will pay that. I will. Probably will.
The thing is, it's like, I saw like yesterday, Hogwarts Legacy. When that came out, it was like 55 quid.
I was going to say, that wasn't a very expensive game.
Yeah, but you can pick it up. That's the thing. You can pick it up right now for like 25 quid.
Yeah, of course you can. Like you can get Red Dead 2 for like 20 quid now.
Yeah, but that's been like, what, 2-3 years? That game it came out this year, Hogwarts Legacy. So if you wait...
Yeah, but Red Dead was a more expensive game, and Hogwarts Legacy is a much smaller game from a smaller title. So it's like, they are in different, like...
leagues.
Things, you know.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
It's like Assassin's Creed games. You can pick them up for a $5 every now and then.
Yeah, eventually, yeah. We get them for free, like I do, on the Ubisoft. They give them away for free. I'm playing through Odyssey, I think.
Trying to see how much I paid for Horizon. I might not have that email. Because I probably bought Horizon for like 70 or 80 quid when that came out on the PS5.
How'd you got the money, mate?
The problem is, it's like, The thing with GTA 6 is it's the sort of game where I will want to play it as soon as possible just to avoid spoilers.
Yeah, same.
And that's why I will pay for the price. Like I think it's just we got to factor in. It's like we know it's going to be a lot of money. Just gonna have to make sure we're saving up, or we're putting the money aside to pay for it.
I'll wait till it's like 40. 40 is my biting point. Yeah.
That should be a good price for GTA 6, but you might be looking till 27, 28 before you play it.
Yeah, probably.
Looking at Red Dead was 25% off for the first year or two, and it didn't hit 50% off until a couple of years later. It's only now it's sort of like 60% off, 67% off. I think I paid 27. It's now on 19. It's playable on the Steam Deck, Red Dead 2.
Takes up too much space.
Yeah, what's the size?
It's like 150 gig, wasn't it?
150.
Yeah, 150. Yeah, it's not worth like playing on the Steam Deck. If I was going to play Red Dead 2, then I would play on a big screen.
Yeah. Well, you say that though. It's it's
you only get like an hour's battery life.
It doesn't run great on the PC. Most people are playing it on a console at 30 FPS, so you'd probably be all right on the Steam Deck, to be honest.
You can do it, but you're only going to get an hour's battery life.
Well, yeah.
You can lock it down to like 30 or 40 frames per second, and they have everything at low. It's playable. Probably the same as the PS4 version.
I actually had that problem the other day when I was playing GTA 5. Like, for the life of me, I couldn't get it above 30 FPS, and I couldn't understand what was going on. And, I was changing settings, turning off like water and hair tessellation, doing this, all that. It took me ages to realise the laptop wasn't plugged into power.
Oh.
Because I've had gaming PCs, like desktop computers, I've never had that issue before. But obviously with a laptop, I think it must have been running off the iGPU. I think when it's not plugged into power, it only runs off the internal graphics card. So yeah, of course it wasn't running. I should have realised when it took forever to actually launch the game, but I'm not going to, GTA 5 takes ages to load. It's like almost 10 minutes, I think. And that's for a game that came out in 2013 on like a 16-core AMD laptop with a 3070. Like, I cannot believe how long it takes to load that game.
Yeah, I remember loading it on the Steam Deck. It took a while, but I was loading it off the SD card.
I'm loading off an NVMe SSD. It's not like it's on a SATA SSD or a hard drive, but it's just so long. I can't believe it. I play some newer but not brand new games on there, and they load pretty quickly. GTA 5 is just, I don't know, like, it feels like years ago it did load quite quickly, but lately it just seems pretty slow.
I think that pretty much wraps GTA up, unless you got anything else to say. I don't know if you heard about the news.
We could go into how bad Rockstar is for taking so long, but we've had that conversation about 3 times on the podcast. I don't really want to have it again.
Yeah, I was going to talk to you about I think it was like a month ago. Did you hear about the news about Sony taking away content from their Discovery? I think that's their video store.
Go ahead.
So basically, what happened is that if you bought any content off their video store, like movies or TV shows.
Is this a PlayStation thing or a Sony thing in general?
A Sony video store. So you could purchase movies, you can purchase TV. And what happened is that they lost the rights. I think some company bought out another company, and most of the movies and TV shows, because the license expired because they no longer have a contract with that company because they were bought out, and the other company has their own platform for showing movies and TV shows. They had to say to customers that, oh, sorry, that content that you supposedly did own and you bought is unavailable now. Thank you for your support.
It's not the first time this has happened, though.
Yeah. And it's just a reminder that anything you buy digitally is not actually yours. You own a license, but you don't actually own it, and they can remove it at any point. And it just sucks.
Yeah, I mean, what was that? When you bought a DVD or a Blu-ray and it came with it was like Blue Light or something, and you could go to this website and you could say, oh, please add this to my Google Play Store or to my iTunes Store. Like, I think I bought Despicable Me on DVD, but I've got the digital version in my iTunes Store because of something like that. And that company, they got bought out by another company, but then the company that bought them out shut down or went bankrupt or something like that. So your service was already moved from one system to another once, and then literally like 6 months, a year, like not very long, not very much time later, it got removed entirely. So I think you could still have those films if you had transferred them to another service. But if you were using their own service or something, you lost access to them. I can't remember the exact details, but it was just another one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's not great. And actually, we were going to watch Barbie this Christmas, and I was looking at, do I want to rent it for £5 or buy it for a tenner? And sometimes I genuinely think I would rather buy it for a tenner than rent it for a fiver. But actually what you're saying is making me think maybe I should just rent it, because we're not going to watch it more than once. And why spend the extra £5 to maybe lose it potentially in the future, if that ever happens? Is it like those movies? So if you buy it through Sony, you lose it, but that same film bought through iTunes, you'd still have. Is it just Sony has lost that relationship?
Yeah, Sony.
Or is that film lost on every distribution platform?
No, it's Sony. So apparently Sony had a contract in place, and then because that company's got bought out by another company.
But surely, if those films were lost to Sony customers, why have they not been lost to like iTunes customers and Google? So how come they've still got access to those films?
I'm not sure. I don't know the technical details.
It's only because I'm not necessarily expecting you to know the answer, but the reason you're giving me is making me think, well, surely everyone would lose access to that film, not just Sony customers, unless Sony just the price that they wanted was too much or something.
Who knows? Who knows what kind of contract they had? You would have to know the ins and outs behind the scenes of each company on what's agreed and what's not agreed and what's in place. But it looks like Sony has lost the licenses to host those films and TV shows on their service. So no, the people that purchased those films and TV shows, you can't access it anymore. And that's it. No reimbursements, nothing. You've lost it. So that money that you've put in, thinking, I'll buy it on here. It's just easier than buying the physical media. It's gone. So that person who hopefully no one has spent a lot of. I know a lot of people do that. They buy it on like iTunes and stuff. But you're not guaranteed that it's going to stay on the store. I was watching Digital Foundry, and they were talking about Half-Life 2, and they were talking about like you could do like this mod on the Xbox Series X to get it to run at 60 frames per second in 4K. But that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is that they said, you would have to have the physical game to play it though, because it's not on the Xbox store anymore. It's been taken off. So if you're an Xbox Series S owner, there's no way of owning that game. So it just shows you they can, like, if they lose the license, that's it. The only way you can play it. So you can still play it if you have bought it digitally. You can download it and play it, but you can't purchase it. It's not on the store. And if you have the physical game, the game disc, then you can still play it as well. But people, if you've got a system like the Xbox Series S, you're screwed. Unless you've bought the game previously on the Xbox 360, then there's no way of owning it. And that's why it's scary, because like at any point you might think, I'll pick that up at some point, and the thing is, it's kind of the same like when you're like, where you get into like with a streaming service where they could take off any TV show or movie. So it's like, well, that's different.
Yes and no. I mean, if you're paying for Netflix or Apple TV and they lose access to a show, you're paying for access to the streaming service, not a particular show.
Exactly.
Whereas if you pay $15.99 for a series of Scrubs and then you can't play that because it's been lost. I mean, here's the kicker, right? Like, I've got Ice Age in my iTunes movie catalogue. I paid for that in like 2009. It's just been there forever. And if you told me I was going to lose access to that, I would be like, yes, whatever, I really don't care. Now, if I went out tomorrow and paid $9.99 for the Barbie movie, and then I got an email from Apple saying, on the 31st of December, we're removing Barbie from your account, you won't be able to watch it because licensing contracts, blah, 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 I'd be a lot more pissed off because it's a very recent purchase. That will play a little bit into how people are going to feel. I think some people are going to be like, I bought that movie or TV show 6 years ago. I've already watched it. It's no big deal. And that's not necessarily a good thing. But yeah, if you just bought a whole load of stuff, like you just spent 50 quid on a whole load of Christmas movies or whatever, then yeah, it's going to sting a lot more.
Yeah.
The question is, are we going to learn from this? Are we maybe going to have some protections for consumers? Because that's really what we need. Is there should be changes to, like, if everyone wants us to go digital only, that's fine. I've got no problem with that. but maybe we need to change the way we're doing our purchases. Maybe we need some laws that are more consumer friendly so that this sort of thing can't happen.
You get your money back.
Not that you get your money back, so that it cannot happen. Because actually, in my mind, if you've already paid for it, like you said with The Last of Us Part 2, there is a difference between selling a license to a TV show and allowing someone access to a show they've already paid for in the past, like a previous purchase. There's so many things where historical purchases aren't affected by a new law or a new license or a new agreement. So you might say, if you buy an iPhone, you only get 2.5 gigabytes of iCloud storage, whereas everyone else has got 5 gigabytes. But that only accounts for people with brand new phones with a brand new iCloud account. If you have an old account, you still get your 5 gigabytes. And that's quite normal. And there has been cases where if you pay for a media and they no longer sell that media, but you paid for it, you can still download it and you can still watch it or whatever. Actually, one place that you do see that is like the iOS App Store. So if you buy an app and you download it, once you've got a license for that app, even if that app is no longer publicly available, quite often you can still download it. It's very rare that you can't download a version of an app that you previously purchased. I mean, I've got on my iPad, I've got a version of Monopoly. You cannot buy it anymore, but I think it's the best version of Monopoly for the iPad. And I play it like every week. And it technically doesn't really work on my iPad. It's not formatted for the screen I have. And I bought it about 10 years ago. And when I got this iPad, I set it up from scratch. And I was quite upset because I thought, if I don't transfer from my old iPad to the new iPad, I'm no longer going to be able to play Monopoly, and I genuinely enjoyed playing that version of Monopoly. But one day, I was going through my purchased history, and I saw it was there, and I saw there was a download button, and I tapped the download button, and it downloaded the app and it installed it. If I gave you the link to that app, you would not be able to buy it or download it or anything. And that's quite good that Apple actually has that functionality, whereas I feel like Sony or any other similar company, if they're going to sell you a TV show or a film or a song or whatever it is, if you purchased it, you should always be able to download it. And actually, the right thing would be to allow you to transfer that purchase to a company that does still have a license. So you buy it through Sony, but you should be able to download and watch it through Google Play if you can no longer access it through Sony. Like, there should be, technically those licenses don't exist now, but maybe we should think about the legality, get laws behind these products and services to make that a thing that can be done.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think the way things are heading, everything's heading into a digital format, and it doesn't seem like there is a lot of let's say the laws in place to stop companies from just saying, we haven't got licenses anymore, that's it, goodbye, thank you for your money, but there's nothing we can do. But the problem is trying to if you were trying to fight one of these big companies, it would take you a lot of money. It's not even worth it.
I wouldn't try and fight them. I would go to my MP and say, hey, can you think about maybe creating some laws that requires them to do it?
Yeah, I think that's probably...
It's asking for consumer protection. It's not it's not trying to sue anyone. It's just saying, look, this is becoming a normal thing, and here is a potential problem. Can we look at maybe changing the way copyright or something like that, license agreements, whatever, can we maybe force something to be in place so that if you purchased a film, you can watch it until you die from somewhere? And of course, then we can look at whether it's appropriate or not. If you buy a DVD and you die, your children can watch it. If you buy a film on iTunes and you die, well, that license belongs to you and you only. You can't transfer it to your children's account. So unless they've got your password and they just use your account, which isn't ideal. And that's another thing, like, can we have some digital inheritance?
I better write it down. The passwords.
Yeah, I think I think Sting or some really famous musician actually fought Apple, some musical person, about the legality of the music that he has purchased that is on his iPod and whether his daughter can have it when he dies or something. And it didn't really move the scale, which is the worrying thing. Like, digital legacy and inheritance isn't a thing, and yet people are spending hundreds, thousands on it now. Whereas every vinyl, cassette tape, CD bought by your parents, you could take on. But everything that you buy on iTunes or Google Play or whatever, that's only within your account. It can be in your family account, but once you are no longer there and your family account doesn't exist, where does it go? Just disappears.
Yeah, I heard a good story about this. Like, there was these two kids, and they're both friends, and they wanted to save up and get a PS5, and both of them had Switches. And one of the boys, he had a Switch, and he bought all of his games physically. So he had the physical carts and the cases, and then the other boy bought everything digital. So when it came to trade in, the guy who had the boy who had the Switch and he had the physical games, they were offering him like 200, I think, for his console and his games. And then the boy who just had the Switch but had the games on the Switch on his account, they're only going to offer him like 145.
But of course they are, because the games aren't on the Switch, because the Switch is reset to factory.
Exactly. Because yeah, he asked him, he's like, why, like, I've got the same amount of games as he has. Why am I getting a lot cheaper?
I get that some people maybe don't understand that, but it's so obvious though why it's the case.
Yeah, but it's a good example where if you buy digitally, even like your resale value, you're making a loss, because if you bought the game physically, you would have made...
No, you're not making a loss, because he didn't sell his Switch for £200. He sold his Switch for £145 and he had £55 worth of Switch cards. So they both got the same value. It's just one had more things to get more cash at the end of the day. And if you buy games digitally, you know you're not going to have any resale unless, I don't know, you sell it through CD keys. I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that. And I feel like no one who buys a game digitally should have that expectation, not with the current gaming market and the gaming laws. There has been some stuff going through, it might be American laws or something, but there's something going through about resale of digital games. So that may change in the next 15, 20 years. Certainly not the case now, but it could change.
Who knows? I think that would be a threat to the retro second-hand stores. So if you can...
No, it wouldn't, because you could sell your key to the store, and they, instead of having discs in... Instead of having a disc in storage, they just have a collection of keys that they sell. If you buy online, you can sell and purchase instantly instead of having to post it off or wait for it to come in the post. And instead of them giving you... You know, when you go to CX and you give them the case and they go off and they find you a scratchy CD and put it in there and then you go home and it doesn't work. Well, instead of that, they just give you a code and then you go home and you install that to your account and then it's fine and you can sell it back. It could work and it could be a better system because you don't have to worry about the CD not working and having data loss or something.
Oh, I don't know.
The laws just need to exist to force the technology to be there.
I don't think that's going to work because... It could work, but I can't see many people using it because you could just go on your phone.
So many people would use it.
You could just go on your phone. Why would you want to leave the house? Just do it on your phone.
Yeah, you could do it on your phone.
Why would you want to...
I don't see why is that a problem.
No. You're just giving an example where someone would actually go into a store and buy a digital key.
Yeah.
Why would they not just do it at home?
Well, you could do it in both places.
But then...
they all sell digital. You know, you can buy a brand new game with a digital code. You can go to Game, or I was in Smith's Toy Store yesterday and they were selling digital codes, which you can buy online, or you can go into a shop and buy a little card with a code on it. I agree. Like, why would you go to a shop and do it? But there are people who will go to a shop and do it. So you could just allow them to do it, because if you're in the town centre buying other stuff and then you just happen to be next to that shop, I mean, CX isn't going anywhere for the next 20 years because they sell more than current gen stuff. You know, they're going to have PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, Nintendo 64. They're going to have physical stores for a long time because they've got enough inventory and there's enough sales of that inventory that, yeah, why not have codes? They wouldn't have the codes in the store. All of the codes that you sell in the store would be available online. So it's not like they would have a card printed with the code on it. They would just, at purchase, print off one of the codes that is available online up and down the country. That's the way I would do it if I was that company. So yes, you could, like, why would you go to a shop and do it? You wouldn't go to a shop unless you were already in the store buying something else and also saw the code. The important thing is, if you can buy and sell digital versions of your games, you could sell the copy on eBay for 30 quid, or you could sell it to CX or some other game reseller for 15 quid and get your instant money. Yeah, I mean, that would probably be good in the same way that when you buy a used game, the money doesn't go to Rockstar or Assassin's Creed, or, it doesn't go to the developer, but
I was thinking about that.
It kind of does. It's like the used car market. Like, if no one bought used cars, no one would buy brand new cars either. The brand new car market exists. It has to exist. The brand new car market needs the second-hand car market to exist. Otherwise, people wouldn't be able to buy brand new cars. They're just too expensive. And in a similar fashion, brand new games have existed because people have been able to sell them and other people buy them secondhand to allow them to buy other games brand new. And yes, there are people like me who are idiots and only buy digital, so we never get any money back for any of our games in our collection. You can argue whether that's a good idea or not financially, but I always like to be able to play any game that I've ever owned. I don't want to sell games on. So I buy less games overall than someone who buys a game, sells it, buys a game, sells it. I know that game companies will be scared of being forced to allow people to buy and sell digital copies. But I think it would be in their interest to actually implement it, because there will be people who, like you, if you could buy GTA6 on launch day for 80 quid, but you could sell it 3 months later for 60, that game's cost you 20 quid when you said you would only pay 40 quid for it. You know what I mean? Like, there's benefits to everyone in that market. Rockstar's getting a sale at 80 quid. They're getting a sale in the opening month, which is good for sales records. And you get to play the game without being spoiled. And then someone else gets to pay 60 quid for it from you because you've sold it to them for 60 quid. You're never going to play that game again because that's the sort of gamer you are. You then get to go and buy another game for 80 quid and sell that for 60, and another game for 80 and sell that for 60. So overall, of course, you're spending some money, but you're getting a lot of it back. And that's where a market that's constantly moving doesn't stagnate. Whereas a market where you either buy the game for full price or you wait for it to come out later on sale and you buy it at a lower price, well, that market can kind of stagnate a little bit. You get less people buying it up front, and overall the company is going to get less money because people like you are paying substantially less for it. Red Dead's on sale for 57% off. So yeah, does that not make some kind of sense?
Yeah. I think that pretty much wraps up. I haven't really got much to add on that. It's disappointing to see when that does happen, and you just hope that the person who's been affected by this hasn't been burnt too much. But yeah,
the big problem is that anything that happens will only affect games after it comes out, so you'll never be able to buy and sell GTA 5 codes. You'll only be able to buy and sell GTA 7 or GTA 8 codes because the technology would need to be built and implemented in games and so on and so forth. So it could be 10, 20 years away, but it could be good for the market in general, especially by that point. Games are going to be £100, £120 for just the standard version. It's going to be crazy. Thank you for listening to Screen Bytes. Follow us in your podcast app or subscribe on YouTube.